Welcome, fellow travelers. My name is Yommi.
And my name is Falco, and we are joining Chibi and Vertic at the Golden Feather.
Come on in, grab a seat, and let's share tales of adventure.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Golden Feather Tavern, where your hosts, Chibi and Vertec, discuss Ashes of Creation and important topics spoken about within the Ashes community. Every week, we invite you, the viewer, and a special guest or two to pull up a chair, grab a pint, and join the conversation with us. Today is the 27th of February 2024. We are in episode 198, Making Radio Waves, with two guest radio stars with us, Falco and Yommi. How you gents doing?
Doing good.
Doing good. I'm happy to be here. This is my first time on the show, but Falco's already been here.
Right. I had to make sure to get Yami on here because I'm like, you know what? You've never been on this podcast, and this is one of the best ones in the Ashes creation community.
It's actually my first appearance in the Ashes community. Like, we have our own Ashes podcast, but it's like this is the first official appearance in the Ashes community for me. I feel like.
Right, I agree.
Wait. Well, welcome on in. We're
All the
happy.
more reason.
Yeah, exactly. We're happy you could make your debut here.
Mm-hmm.
So, Chibi, how are you doing today?
Doing pretty good. Hanging out and
Educating
prepping.
people about if they show up too early, then they may or may not.
I said we weren't late, that our patrons were just early, and then Ramiro says, a tavern keep is never early nor late. They tap that keg precisely when they mean to, and that hits that hits the keg on the head.
I like it. Fantastic. So speaking of kegs, what do we have on tap for today?
Today we are going to be discussing different topics such as game system discussions within the community, theory crafting, and other community topics that are either brought up here or didn't quite fall into those two categories. But of course, first things first, we're going to get to know Falco and Yommi a little bit better.
All right. Do you want to start this off, Yami?
I'll start this one off. So, I've actually known Falco a very long time. This isn't just some random dual appearance. I think I've known him 15 or 16 years. We've pretty much been best friends the whole time. And we play a lot of MMOs together, from RuneScape, both RS3 and old school. We played New World, a little bit of World of Warcraft, well, a ton of New World. That's currently what I make content on. And the game pretty much died on me for the second time, so I don't know. I'm looking forward to Alpha 2 coming out so I can switch. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a bunch of MMOs and content creation on New World for me.
Right. It's crazy. Like, me and him, the way me and him met, we met through RuneScape.
Oh yeah,
which is the funny
I forgot about that detail.
Like, I met him and I initially hated this dude's guts. Like, I hated him. So,
like you have to hear the lore.
Hear the lore.
Oh boy, what's the lore?
All right,
Here's
crack
the
open the
lore.
archive. Let's go.
Like, me and him, I met him through RuneScape because he knew my cousin. His cousin knew a friend. Like, it was a friend of a mutual friend through my cousin. And I was a friend to his friend, but his friend was like very, like, bad news. And he was like, he was a very troubled kid at the time. And he got into a lot of trouble. So Jimmy kind of like separated himself from him, and me and him started becoming more friends. But yeah, the first experience I had with this guy on RuneScape, one of my first RuneScape accounts, he hacked my RuneScape account. He hacked my RuneScape account with his friend. I was like, who hacked my account?
I'm sorry, that was me. It's funny, I won't say it, but I still remember the password to that account.
I'm done.
It was so random.
Come on, tell me it was peanut butter
my
jelly
gosh.
time. Tell me it was peanut butter jelly time.
Right. But yeah, like, after that, we got over that, and we became really good friends. Like, Yeah, we shared a lot of cool MMO like moments through RuneScape, like him getting like incredibly rare drops or me getting drops. I don't know. It's like that's the biggest reason I feel like we got into like Ashes is because it felt like Steven wanted to incorporate that again, like incorporate a little piece of his childhood and like the like mid-20s to early 30s childhoods into the game again.
I have to say that is the most MMORPG origin story I have ever heard in my life.
Like that, I think that's probably we so strongly love MMOs. Like they like when they're done right in the old school way. I feel like they can really enhance friendships, like online or in real life.
Yeah.
100%.
And it all starts with hacking your friend.
Yeah,
I mean-
that's a very important element. But yeah,
Let's see.
Note out there.
I was a kid, so.
Well, I don't. Well, I don't suggest you hack people. You just
No,
take a note from their page of their book that you can't become friends with your hacker.
I just gotta say, it sounds like a new anime title. How they're all getting really long. Like, now that
yeah.
I'm best friends with the guy who stole my favorite MMO account.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sounds like a new anime title. Really.
Right.
I like it.
He hacked me over something that he could have obtained. It literally was like, if you guys are
Yeah, but it was a lot faster to hack you.
It was. You're right. But it was all it was like a 99 cape. It was like a max cape because I got 99 in the skill, which was like the max level. And he was like, "Oh my god, he has that cape. He got that emote."
Well, it was
Cool.
Jake's idea. I just said I'm down. That's the.
I'm not gonna out you, but Jake told you to do a lot of stupid
my
stuff,
gosh.
like jumping off the pogo sticks.
Yeah.
Was that smart?
We did not.
Was that smart?
But the crazy part is from this story, I'd never met this guy in real life. And I told my mom that I wanted to go hang out with my friend, and I met him online.
Yeah.
He dropped me off at his house.
And
Oh my gosh.
Before you even got in the house,
All right.
But
Wow.
from then on, we pretty much been best friends.
Oh my
Best of luck
gosh.
to you. Bye.
Rocket says, "Can you even steal a skill cap though?"
No, you can't. I mean, no, you can't take it off the account. No, but you
Right.
can wear it while you're on the account.
Exactly.
Oh
he
my
was just
gosh.
planning to keep the account, so it was his face at that point.
Oh jeez. Oh my gosh. I love that. That's just so unique.
Right.
So, you mentioned that you make content for Ashes. So, what kind of content do you make? I believe you mentioned it was called Rebirth Radio. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, we started a podcast called Rebirth Radio because we initially had like a podcast for New World. It was
subject.
we're not gonna talk about that. Stop it. It was called Voices of Eternum because Eternum
Voices of Eternum.
yeah, Voice of Eternum because that's the world of New World. It's Eternum.
Uh-huh.
But we changed it because we were like, it's not Eternum anymore since we're doing Ashes content. So we were like,
Yeah.
you know what? It's a rebirth, Phoenix, it's a new podcast, it's a new scene. So
Not gonna lie, we spent like an hour with ChatGPT saying,
we did.
come up with the podcast
We did.
alliteration.
We did. We did.
Rebirth, radicalized,
Right. We were like,
All
show
right.
radio or something like that.
We were like,
Oh my gosh.
The,
We were
the
like,
power of
okay,
ChatGPT knows no bounds.
exactly. We were like alliteration. Yeah, spit it out. Like, but yeah, we started
my
that, and we wanted to like have a podcast where we talked about stuff that was like more on the like touchier subjects, stuff that people may not want to like address. We were like,
Oh.
we might want to address it because I don't know. I like being very like obviously their opinion, so they can't affect anyone like their opinions. But who knows? Maybe it's an opinion that maybe a dev or someone may want. Maybe they may want a more blunt approach, or
You've got
like,
those hot topics that people are scared to touch.
basically, like,
Nice.
right, like,
All right,
Hey,
all
I
right.
love those.
right.
No,
That's all right. I like getting into those too every once in a while. But it's really funny because when we started out all the way up until now, I think we've been mainly sunshine and rainbows, except for like a couple dark parts where we're like, I don't like
Oh,
this
yeah.
at all. We have our
Right.
Sith
Yeah.
moment.
Oh, so you just cutting out for me?
Wait, he
Yeah,
cut out for me just now.
I think he's cutting out for me as well a little bit. I'm not sure if he's cutting out for stream though.
Bro,
Fair enough.
you guys hear me cutting out? Am I dying?
I can pretend like I heard you.
We hear you now.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we don't really have too many negative viewpoints, but the ones that we do are ones that are like close to our hearts, you know, like the things that
Yeah, we don't have that many
care about.
either. No, it's not like we're just trashing on the game 24/7.
Right. I'm just saying there are the people that, you know, we're in the community or in the community that have that like more skeptic viewpoints of everything instead of optimistic, and we're more on the optimistic side.
Yeah.
Like we look at it with a grain of reality, of course, but there's a lot of people that are like, this is how the system is, but will the system work? And I think that's important to have like this variety, you know, out there, like the people that talk about the things that people don't want to say out loud, things that people are like, hey, this is our constructive way of like criticizing this, and the people that are like, well, I'm not sure if this is going to work and here's why, you know. And I think those are very important viewpoints to have, especially with developing MMO. So I think it's really awesome. And how far are you into your podcast? Like what episode are you guys on?
We don't put out, we do podcasts in a different way than like you guys do. We do like YouTube video podcasts. So we try to do one every like before a stream and then after a stream. Like a
cool.
called like a, I don't know, the live stream, you know, like they have once a month live streams for Ashes. We try to do one before, like to talk about how what we expect, like expectations.
Okay.
And one about how we and then how we feel about the stream after. So basically like two. Yeah. It's we don't have like a ton right now because it's been an odd time in between. I think we started it in late December.
Yeah.
We have about like 3 out right now. Yeah, we have about 3.
Honestly, we were just talking about how there's not a whole lot of new topics in the community in general from the last stream, but like I feel like the biggest spread between streams is December to January.
Yeah, that one
They do it early in December, and then they do it normally in January. So there's like an extra week or two there where there's no content.
Exactly.
And then everyone like spoke their little hearts out about the Ranger showcase. So I feel like everything was out there, and everyone's opinions were already heard.
Yeah.
Right.
It was a pretty dry patch for.
And kind of similar with this one's live stream, where you know we've already heard like a lot of people's viewpoints on defenders and attackers. Yeah.
So. And that one was such an interesting one, considering the fact that like we had already had like technically a caravan one, and this one was mostly just for like it was more speculation instead of concrete facts. I feel like because obviously we don't know everything.
Right.
Like people haven't been playing it, don't know exactly what like hardcore or concrete things that attackers have, and that was like a big touching like topic that people were like defenders have more. You're good. People felt like the attackers weren't really penalized there wasn't like equal opportunity. It was more so if you're an attacker, open season, but if you're a defender, dang, now I'm risking so much.
Well, but they didn't have a healer.
Exactly.
They didn't have a healer.
Right.
And there was no summoner. Not every architect was there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, or Bard.
I don't know how to feel right now.
Summoner would have changed the whole gamescape, huh?
Who knows? Honestly, like
they could. It's like in Wars, when you get a bunch of summoners together, they can summon that big. It's like a 10-man summon. I think that's talking about it upstream. There might be something like that for caravans.
Yeah,
like a
something
backup
like that.
for when your caravan dies. If you have like 10 summoners, you can summon a giant like rhino or something. That'll take you a little further. I don't know. It could change it. Tough.
You're great.
It's kind of tough. Is that not tough?
Basically, what we were talking about, like we don't know. There was a lot. It was mostly a speculative like thing with that one, but like I feel like the showcase is like in December when we saw like the Ranger. It was more concrete. We could actually give better like details. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see as more info comes out for sure. I know, as they say at the beginning of every show, at the beginning of every live stream, at the beginning of every video, they show on the live stream. At the end of every video, they show on the live stream. At the end of every live stream, everything's subject to change. This is alpha, etc., etc. So
exactly.
Just gotta keep the ears open, keep the eyes open, see what happens, and chat about that. But speaking of things potentially changing, if you could pick your ideal, what you would like to make all of your content on after the game goes live, what would it be? Are you going to be more like the guide type? Are you going to be the hype crowd for events and whatnot, like PvP events people are putting on in game? Are you going to create events in game? Are you going to be like, what do you think would be, if everything could go your way, would be your ideal content, either individually or as a team or both?
We'll let Falco go first.
Can I pick one for like team and then one for like solo content? Can I do that?
I've got so much to say.
Yeah.
I do have so much. Sorry, buddy. Like that's what I do. But
Can't spend all our time together.
Solo, I would say I would like to start like a series similar to. I would like to incorporate IRL into MMOs, like bridge the gap between both. I would like to do some cool, I like solo content like that and group content. But then
that's fine. They already have taxes. That bridges reality in game. Yeah.
Not that gap.
That's a different gap. Not a different gap. But yeah, I would like to do that. But then I'll also, I'm trying to steer clear away from like Iron Man type content because like,
oh yeah,
I feel like that, at least for me, in my opinion, it kind of takes away from the MMO experience because like MMO is supposed to be massively multiplayer, you know. And when you're Iron Man, you're not really. It's massive, but you're not multiplayer.
If you don't know what Iron Man is and you're watching this, it's where you basically play alone. You can't trade other people or use the trading post or anything. You're just playing alone.
Basically, you gather all your stuff.
I feel kind of called out because that's the content I make on New World. But I will argue it's a dead game. You have to do everything alone anyway. So
didn't even hear that bus come in, did you?
I would like to do like a cool like like on like they have RP on like I would say GTA 5. I would like to bring like a cool RP like pirate ships or something like that when the game goes live.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about that.
Right. I would love to do some RP stuff like videos with like Yommi or with even other content creators. That'd be dope.
Doing like some of the machinima type stuff.
Basically, like maybe like I'm just throwing this out there, like for like maybe roleplay as One Piece. Like maybe it's I make my own story, like searching for the One Piece. That'd be dope. Like more like incorporating anime into Ashes. I think that would be dope.
Actually, it would be kind of cool.
In the communities, maybe.
Wait, say it again.
So that's a pretty good overlap between the communities.
Right.
Anime. You can get some.
There you go.
All right.
There you go.
What was yours?
Well, I agree. I'd like to stay away from Iron Man content. I do think that kills MMOs, like the solo player content, even though it gets a lot of views, especially if you look at RuneScape. Some people pull like 1 million views just doing like self-restricted accounts and stuff like that. So obviously it's fun to watch, but I think if I could choose, it would just be pretty much standard Let's Play, kind of like what I do now, but without any restrictions on the account. And I hope Ashes is a deep enough game to where you can do that type of content and not. What's the right way to say this? You can play an unrestricted account and keep it interesting for a long enough period of time to where you can't instantly buy max power or like stuff like that, because that's usually the problem with RuneScape and with New World. Well, the items are so easy to get, it doesn't matter if you can trade or not. And that's another thing I'm hoping Ashes will. There's a fine balance between not being able to buy everything and not being given everything.
Right.
Yeah.
So as long as that balance, the standard Let's Play content is what I'm looking forward to.
You know what's actually an interesting thought is because of the way that they're putting extra emphasis on the MMO part of Ashes. Like you have to play with people if you're going to be successful because
like
reasons. I think the Iron Man thing would actually be extra difficult in Ashes. That would be like an extra challenge.
Probably why people are going to do it.
It would be like the no hit runs of Souls games and stuff like that. Like, like really no hits at all. Not like no deaths, but no hits. Whew.
You can't even get sneezed on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oi, oi, oi.
Shall we move on into the main topics?
We
Sure.
shall. We
Okay.
shall.
Well, since you guys are the guests, which topic would you like to cover first?
You want to pick Yommi?
Game
Is
system
this after
discussions.
community hot topics?
You want to talk about the community random topics? Okay.
Well, hold on. No, not the random topics. Which
We have
topics
game-
would you choosing?
We have game system discussions, we have theory
Oh, there.
crafting, or we have the random topics.
Let's do game system discussions. That'd be my vote.
Okay.
All right.
I agree.
What about you, Falco?
I agree.
Do you agree? Because that first point, I got a lot to say on that first point.
I like that first point as well. And the first point is actually on the replay value of dungeons for Ashes of Creation. And I'll go ahead and share that out to you guys in Twitch so you can see what we're referencing. And this comes from consultants over on the Ashes of Creation forums. And they're saying the purpose of this post is to discuss retention.
Mm-hmm.
I already posted on the subject, but since there was a comment about how low drop rates increases the replay value, we decided to expound more on the subject. I want to point out that retention is a real issue. Most MMO games get released and peak the player content, and after that, player population declines.
Mhm.
Also, expansions come out, player count peaks, and then steadily goes downhill. And we've seen that with like a lot of World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy and other things that are just like
Mhm.
older games. You get that initial hype for the new content, but it just over time doesn't sustain.
Mhm.
In general, keeping people online with gear could be done with attainable gear, not really low drop rates. And that's this person's perspective. So let's say a game comes out and they're really cool. They have like bows with a 3 to 6 month grind. I'm trying to get around some of this. But they think that Ashes will still be really busy even after the game comes out. So all you have to do is put in a couple of new bows to farm whenever content comes out. After a while, the bows just kind of add up. And you can replace bow with gear or mounts or pet cosmetics, etc. But in general, there's more there. What are your thoughts about the replay value of dungeons and the game in general?
I'll go first. I feel like as long as, like, obviously there's gonna be expansions. I feel like since I'm gonna use RuneScape as an example because that's a game I have probably the most time with, and it's a pretty successful game for how long it's been out, like 20 plus years.
Mhm.
I feel like RuneScape does it very well with keeping dungeons having high replayability, with having really high like drop rates are not like the greatest. They're like 500 per like one drop per 500 kills, but then they also do it really well to keep the old dungeons that came out like in the early 2000s relevant by making it so you have to like disassemble those pieces of gear to put into the newer pieces of gear to make that, to power up that like the new gear from like the new dungeons that came out in the late like in 2023. I feel like that makes it so that other gear doesn't like not become expensive anymore because it's still in-game
Right.
gear. It just was in-game gear that came out in the early 2000s. I feel like that's a way to keep people spread out and not always doing the same dungeon, you know, because
Right.
people, when the new dungeon comes out, they're just going to go to it, like, because that's the new hot thing. It's the most expensive thing to farm. It's going to have the best materials, whether it's materials to craft the best gear or whether they have the best glen or so have it. As long as they continue to make it so you're adding on to the existing stuff and not just kind of putting it to the wayside, kind of like New World does. Like the newest bow comes out, takes 5 kills to get it, then wait for the next expansion, another bow. Okay, what am I gonna do with this last bow? Nothing, just leave it in my bank. As long as there's a reason to keep it or use it to add on to what you already have, then I feel like that's gonna keep a bustling economy.
And a
I agree.
diverse choice of content you can participate in. Like still on old school, if you want to go farm those older dungeons, you can still make money because parts are still relevant.
Exactly.
I like that. I feel like the replay availability of dungeons is pretty serious, even for the gameplay aspect of the game, like what you want to do on the game. Because if the max level say is 50, and say the highest dungeon, you can do it efficiently at like level 42, and that's all you want to do. You just want to be a drop hunter on the game and just farm that dungeon for money. And if leveling really is that slow on Ashes, like Steven says it is, what's the incentive to go from 42 to 50? It's a good thing, in my opinion. You don't have to be max level to play the game at the level you want to play it at. That's the thing with New World. If you want to do the new dungeon, you have to be level 65. You have to be the max level. But I kind of like it. Like on RuneScape, hardly anyone is max level. You don't have to be max level to do the content. When you see someone who's max level, you're like, oh, that's cool. They put the work in to get that last few bit of levels that they didn't need. So if the dungeons actually have a high level of replayability, and you obviously need to be a high level to them, but you don't have to be the highest level, then that's kind of where that segment of the crowd will branch off and just go farm the dungeons pretty much as soon as they can. And that gives high value to the max level that wouldn't otherwise be there, if that makes any sense. And also, in terms of replay, I'm just thinking of so many things because of New World and how bad they butchered this. They release a new dungeon like, I don't know, every 3 months or something like that. Yeah. And it's there for a day or two, and then it dies out pretty much instantly.
Oh, wow.
And the core systems in that game are just there. I don't want to get too much into it, but there was an Umbral Shard system where you would do the dungeon, they would give you Umbral Shards, and you could upgrade your gear with them. And then they got rid of that because everybody just farmed the dungeons and had unlimited supply of shards. And then they introduced the same system, but with a different name. And now we're back in the same situation again. So the core gameplay loops are just extremely important, and I'm interested to see how they navigate that, because RuneScape is the only game. Well, I haven't really played enough WoW to be able to speak on that part, but RuneScape, they did it right. They made the old drops. The old drops have to be valuable. They have to maintain some sort of base level. Like in RuneScape, they call it alchemy, where you can just straight convert the item into coin. That's one way to give a baseline value to items. There's a lot of ways you can do it, but as long as the content's not completely dead, as long as you still see people there, it makes the world feel a little more alive.
I agree.
Yeah. Vertec, what are your thoughts?
I think that, and this is one of I am mostly satisfied with the idea and concept of how the raids and dungeons are going to be in Ashes. And I say mostly because, I do have a couple issues, but for the most part, I think the replayability won't be a problem. Because for one, you're going to be going for droppable pieces that you can craft into gear. And there's going to be nodes that when they rise up to, like, say tier 5 or tier 6, it's going to open up a raid or a dungeon or what have you along the way. And then that node may not survive for a really long time. Let's say a node has like a 1 year lifespan before somebody nukes it. So you have a raid for a year, along with 5 other raids because of the other nodes, and who knows, maybe however many it may open up as well, just because of some of the on rails portion of the game. Like they're going to tell a story. There's going to be a story about the world that may open up other raids and dungeons and other experiences as well. So you're going to have 6 months to a year to play a raid that's going to be contested by people wanting to do the same thing because it's all open world, right? So you may not have a chance to beat it many times yourself. You're gonna have to wait until the big brutish bullies finish doing their runs through and like locking everybody else out, or the people who just have really good timing and get there magically at like 3 o'clock in the morning when nobody else is on, or what have you. But either way, like you're gonna have a little bit of time to get to it after all the other people get to it, and then you move on. But it's not like you need that gear set from there. You just need some drops, like a couple drops, to be able to craft something, and then you move on, and then there's a new raid, and then you might maybe get back to that one specific situation where that one raid opens up again in the future, possibly, I think replayability is going to be good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, serving 10,000 people each.
Right.
Right.
Well, yeah, hopefully. That's the optimistic outcome. But I think that the players are going to be the thing that keeps Ashes going, because everything is player driven anyway. So without the players, there isn't a game. And also without the players, there isn't a marketplace. And we know that the best gear is crafted, so you have to go and do the content to get the best items to craft the best gear. And it's a vicious cycle from there. And I think that I don't know, I've not really played a game that's kind of like that. You guys had mentioned RuneScape previously. But I think that the way that this is made sounds like it will sustain itself for a time period, like a decently long time period, versus getting through all of the main content and not having anything to do that's interesting. Like, we are the content, essentially.
And the complexity of having to get that mega rare item and then having to also be a max level crafter to get that piece of gear. Like, sometimes it's good for things to be almost unobtainable in the game. No,
definitely.
Right.
There's stuff we haven't ever obtained in RuneScape, and we played it probably
for 20 years. We've never had a twisted bow.
Never had a twisted bow. It's like the best bow in the game. I've had stuff on the same rarity as it, but I've never gotten that bow, and it's like, it's pissed me off, but at the same time, it's like, I got something to play still.
Yeah.
There's still replayability, and also if the end game best gear in the game that you have to get an item from an end game dungeon, then craft it. That, since considering that's so unobtainable, it gives value to epics or lower tier gear.
Exactly.
You know, like, because sorry to keep bringing up New World, but New World, when you see an epic, you instantly destroy it. There's not a single epic in the game. Even the time of day to think about. So, that's something that's kind of sad.
Bring back rarity usage, like.
Yeah.
Not everyone uses a legendary. Like, make legendary, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Right. That actually brings me to the next topic, which is on Death and Ashes of Creation.
Okay.
This one's also from the forums. Let me just share that out. This is from, I have no idea how to say this person's name, so I'm just going to shorten it to Kavi. But this person thinks that dying should always have a negative effect on a character, regardless of doing PvP siege events or caravan attack. And I hard disagree. I think there should be some instances where you are not always punished for dying. But what are your thoughts? You guys have played a variety of different games.
I mean,
it shouldn't always be a punishment. There should be some instance. What about if you're just dueling a friend, obviously, something like that. But as a whole, I think dying should be pretty severe. Like, you should have
all the time.
All the time is so
okay. If you're doing like tournaments, or what's it called?
Yeah, like tournaments.
Or if you're, let's say you're doing. Because I know they're gonna have like arenas. If you're doing arenas and it's just like some that's like for rank, what your penalty is like losing your rank, not losing your gear. But if I'm walking through like the Riverlands and Tumac just rinses my stuff, like, and I couldn't get away from him, I should lose something, because I probably shouldn't have been in Tumac. I shouldn't have been there. But
you should have heard the trees falling.
Right, I should have done it a long time ago. But
just to clarify, Kavi says that there should be no exceptions to.
Oh no, Kavi's crazy.
Oh, he's crazy.
Right, that's what I'm getting at. Like, even like
he's crazy.
Further proving his point is, like, I think that there should definitely be exceptions to getting some sort of negative effect for dying.
I mean, as a general rule of thumb, I don't agree with anyone who speaks in absolutes. But to some extent, well, no, and if you're fun dueling, then I guess the loss of dying is you lost.
Right.
But there's, like, in terms of negative consequences for your character, there should absolutely be exceptions.
Definitely.
But there should also be very strict consequences if you do die in a situation that's not protected.
Like
Or-
death should
Yeah,
mean
yeah.
something.
I don't think
They
they should be
right.
So-
Death should definitely mean something.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah.
It should be it should be a big enough penalty to where you think about what you're doing when you leave, your village or node. Like when you start going out and like, because it's a big map. You should have to think about where you're going and stuff like that. I think.
Yeah, no, I'd say I kind of fall in the middle because although I do have a couple gripes on how full tilts they seem to be going in like PvP more so than PvE when it comes to like combat situations and opportunities. I will at least say that I would agree with Stephen made a statement at one point saying that PvP is going to drive change in the world. And the only way to really keep it going is to encourage it, at least to a degree. And I think that idea of not really applying experience debt to organized PvP is actually a good way to do that. It'll keep the server feeling alive, keep people out there doing things and going places and whatnot. It will also let people who are feeling timid about that type of situation to not feel so deterred away from trying to jump in and play around and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
I can agree
I
with
think
that.
I think it's kind of a good thing. I do like that they do have the repair costs in there, even for like caravans, though, because there's at least something there. Like you can
Yeah,
only
there's
keep going as
something.
long as you have money to keep going. But you're at least not going to de-level yourself or whatever and make yourself weaker by just dying because you're trying to participate in an event.
Hmm.
I've played games though where the repair cost is so negligible, like it's there, but is it there?
Man, I'm a
know.
tank.
Yeah.
Repair costs are never negligible for me.
That's true.
And I mean, same with like healers. I mean, typically healers wear cloth, but in this game, healers can also wear plate. So like
Mhm.
anybody who's gonna intend on wearing plate is probably gonna incur a large cost. But
Mhm.
yeah, I agree with you, Peon.
dear
as long
Bob.
as XP debt is not as bad as Alpha 1, which it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
They said it was highly overtuned on accident.
How
Like,
bad was it in
way
Alpha 1?
large.
It was like
How about-
20% or something like that. It was crazy.
Horrendous. So like
20%.
I will say that this
Yeah.
kind of actually really supports my perspective on it. I don't think, especially when involved in PvP, I don't think there should be any XP debt.
No. I kind of agree with you actually.
I think that that is a good way to grief somebody. And I'm already a little bit frustrated by the idea that if you are green and you're getting attacked by a purple and you don't fight back, that you also not only lose stuff, but you lose XP. Like I feel like that frustrates me as somebody who doesn't really like PvPing when it's not
Mhm.
my choice to fight back.
Yeah.
I get that they're trying to incur incentive, but that is more like, and I've said this before, like a long time ago, that it comes off to me more of like I am being punished for not participating in something rather than them being punished for doing something that I am not engaging back in. So
I agree.
therefore them turning red, like they gain corruption, sure. But the point that I really like that the Dark Sorcerer brings up is again with Alpha 1, the XP debt was freaking crazy, and they said don't mind this XP debt. This is not actual numbers. We're still working on tuning this. So just don't take this as like this is the way it is. But Dark Sorcerer says if you're an experienced player, this won't be an inconvenience for you. But for new players, this will be a major turnoff. Where dying is very common while getting to know the game, and that's a very accurate thing. Like while learning how to play the game, and I always bring this up, the way that we knew how much XP debt there was is I accidentally drank poison 3 times. The first time I thought a player killed me. The second time I didn't realize it was poison. The third time I was like, oh, I am killing myself with poison.
Okay,
Got it.
third time
Hey,
you deserve it.
Wait, you could drink poison?
There was like a quest at the beginning. I think it was for rogues, but it looks like a wine bottle. So I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna drink
actually
it. I didn't
cool.
read.
I didn't know.
I didn't read the text.
So,
Yeah.
so
There's
reading
a-
matters. Reading matters. The reading
Reading matters.
I was just like, do, and I just thought somebody killed me. But it was to the point we tried grinding it off. It was faster for me to go make a new character. I got back to level 5 and beyond in a shorter amount of time than it took for me to even try to get rid of the XP debt.
Well, that's okay. That's pretty
Yeah.
silly.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah.
you also
So-
make XP that proportional to your character's level. On the
Yeah.
whole system.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
I like that they're not going to de-level you. You're just going to be at like the base of the level. You're not
Mhm.
going to lose a level, but it's still one of those things where I think this is your alpha 2. We're going to get a lot more testing in. We're going to see where it feels right and where it doesn't feel so right with XP debt and everything like that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I definitely agree with you guys. I think it should not always be a thing. I think there should be instances where you don't get XP debt or like any sort of negative thing.
How severe do you think consequences should be if you die in the open world, like other than XP?
Yeah. Like,
I mean, I feel like you dropping stuff makes sense. That I'm fine
Yeah,
with.
much
I get it. I feel like it again. Like, I feel like the way that they have it seems fair. Where if you're corrupted, you
Mhm.
drop like gear. Otherwise,
Yeah.
you're dropping like resources. But I
Yeah.
can't say how much exactly until I can test it to see like what they're already thinking, and then figure out their baseline compared to my baseline. Like, does this feel like a lot? Or does this feel like a little bit?
Yeah, fair enough.
You know?
Do you feel like you should drop items? Let's say I'm corrupted and like I get killed by Tumok. Should I drop a piece of my gear even though I wasn't killed by a player?
Mm.
Say again?
Do you think like let's say I'm a corrupted player, like I just got done killing Yommi and that man's all the way at
Never gonna happen, buddy.
and I'm walking in like I'm walking the Riverlands and I'm corrupted still and I get killed by Tumok. Should I drop my piece of gear? Or should it only be if I get killed by a player?
Oh man, that's a great question.
I think you should drop a piece of gear. Stop being foolish. If you're corrupted, you better don't hang around too long.
It should be against players.
Really?
Yeah, I think the act of getting corrupted to a certain point should give you the chance to drop gear no matter what you're doing.
I agree
Because
with that,
there are
'cause-
going to be
Okay.
there is going to be, it's a spectrum of corruption, right? Like you gain more and more and more the more bad stuff you do. If you just slay one person because they're being an absolute, hobnob or whatever, like hanging around in your area and just absolutely taunting you, and you just completely demolish somebody and say, get the out of here. Just leave. Okay?
I think
then
if
you
we're
shouldn't
gonna
like,
have where, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, then you shouldn't like, drop a piece of gear for that. But if you end up slaying like 2 or 3 people and you're just running around trying to murder a hobo, like you're trying to gather carrots by killing the carrot gatherers, and then that, I think if you end up dying in any way, shape, or form, like at a certain point you should, because I know there's going to be at this point an unknown amount of chance, but Steven said that corrupted players will have a chance to drop gear if they
Mhm.
die. But he hasn't really said anything about
separate
like,
threshold makes sense.
yeah, like is it as soon as you become corrupted, is it a 0.1% immediately, or is it you're one player death is nothing, 2 player deaths gives you like a 0.5%, but then once you hit like 5 or 6, then you're bordering on the 10% range.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was gonna say I agree with the nuclear. Granted, there should be a level at which you start dropping gear. I don't think just because you killed 1 or 2 people that you should start immediately dropping gear. I feel like there should be a threshold of which you've killed X amount of people. Initially, it's just you're less effective in fights, and then eventually, if you keep killing people, it's now you're dropping gear. But I think if you drop 1 piece of gear, that should raise the threshold for dropping another piece of gear.
Okay. All right.
Because, like,
Ooh.
what if you die to Tumok, but you run back to your body and
Die again.
you die again? So now you've dropped 2 items, and say somebody's like looted you in that time,
Mm.
and they took whatever chest piece you have, but then, like, because you don't have a chest piece, somebody kills you, and now you drop another. I think that's too much.
But you
shouldn't
not
just be-
feel like it's like a way. Let's say people are camping a dungeon and they're like, "All right, I'm gonna go corrupt because I don't want him here." So now he's corrupted. Maybe he's not gonna want to be there because he's like, "Oh, I have a real high chance of dying here because also my stats
Yeah.
are dampened and I don't want to lose a piece of gear because who knows?
Right.
Maybe someone might come in here and take my gear. I probably should go work
Right.
this off real quick because I could lose my gear to this boss. This boss could kill me."
Yeah, I just my issue that I take with that is that I don't know if you should be able to lose corruption for dying to world events or world
Definitely not.
creatures.
Do you think it could be a vicious loop? Like you keep going back to get your stuff and you keep losing more stuff?
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
I think that'd be
right?
funny.
I mean, it'd be funny for the moment, but super irritating for the player, I bet. But I guess that's what it's supposed to be.
He irritated someone by killing someone.
Yeah, that's fair.
But by the time they hit their 4th or 5th death, they won't be dropping gear anymore because it won't be corrupted.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
you know.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's a good point too, Fraglips. Fraglips says, what about the gray gankers, aka people who PK in low quality gear and then don't care about dropping the trash armor?
But
But
I'd be very surprised if they could kill me in low quality
Yeah.
gear.
If gear matters,
Yeah,
then
gear really matters.
I'd be surprised.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
gear's supposed to be what, like 40% of your power?
Exactly.
So if you're wearing grays, you're probably gimped by about 20 to 30% of your power is just gone right there.
Yeah.
So you got to go with lower level people. So now you're getting more corruption per kill. So now you're going to be corrupted longer. You're going to lose
Yeah.
Harder to work
more
off.
experience when you die, et cetera, et cetera. So you're just, I hope you never want to level again.
Right.
And if you're
Right.
max level, it's going to take you a long time to get rid of that corruption because you're going to hit like a wet noodle.
yeah,
It's gonna-
and then fall over really easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can't bank after you're corrupted because you got to work it off. And basically, bounty hunters are after you. Now it's easy for bounty hunters to kill you because you got lowered stats and then you also got bad gear.
If you have gear anymore at that point, I'm dropping it.
Just hunting a naked elf running through the Riverlands.
Oh my gosh. Just a red named elf just like, yeah. Like a little army of like not very good at PvP people just trying to chase after him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
I like consequences. That's what I'm trying to get out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you
We
everything
live in a
else,
society. There are
We
rules.
live in a society.
right, there are consequences.
Since we started theory crafting a little bit on how that would work, I'll go ahead and move us over to theory crafting and continue on with grid-based crafting system. It's a creative exercise, again from the forums by a member named Lashing. And I thought this was kind of interesting. And there's like a whole little set of images that go with this. So feel free to peruse that for those of you that are watching or like listening to this later. The links are in the description for those of you on YouTube. And it's kind of one of those things that they've been thinking about for a while. So they decided to write this out. And they feel like a grid-based crafting system would fulfill all of Intrepid's design requirements. A more involved crafting system that does not get tedious. It's not a mini game, but more than just clicking to craft. An ability to level up a recipe, a sense of discovery for recipes, and potential for hidden recipes. And a system like this would have a lot of room for creative design and expansion. And here they have a few different options for like a beginning tier craft for making a dagger, and then a leveled recipe crafting for a dagger. And you can kind of see I've seen those grid system before. I forget which game I've seen it in, but you kind of put it, I feel like Minecraft, yeah. The one time I've ever played Minecraft. And I feel like
You're
it's kind
PI,
of
but haven't
interesting.
played Minecraft?
So I actually I've helped one time with giving ratings for their October November was that blanking charity, the charity event that they do.
Yeah, Extra Life.
Extra Life. So I was a judge once on Extra Life, and this last Extra Life was my first time playing Minecraft. So
Wow.
yeah, I learned in a very short 1 hour how to play Minecraft before
Oh,
it started.
Stressful.
Yeah, but it was fun. It was a little stressful, but it was fun. We definitely didn't do as well because we didn't know how to make some stuff, but we did our best with what we could because it was my whole group. We didn't know how to play Minecraft at all. We're like, I don't know what this. I don't know how to do this.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I like this grid system. What are your thoughts?
You want to go first, Yommi?
Yeah, you go first.
I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, I felt like the grid system really works really well because not just Minecraft, from RuneScape 3, the original RuneScape, for Invention, they have a grid system for creating like augments for weapons. It's not for like the actual weapon, but like specific like patterns that you make have a higher chance of making you better augments, and some of those like materials are more expensive. So it's like you said, it creates a lot of diversity of maybe I want to make a specific augment or a specific weapon. Maybe it has like a 1 in 200 chance of being that weapon, but these are really like cost-effective materials. Or maybe I want to have a higher chance, like a 1 in 5 chance. But these are very expensive components. So I could lose a lot, or I could get a bad weapon, a bad roll. I think that's dope. I think it incorporates that, you know, the old school RNG aspect of MMOs, but also makes it so, like Steven said, like you said, it's not like a mini game. It's you're very intuitive and very your actions actually have meaning.
Right.
Yeah, I think it gives a lot of possibility to crafting. I actually really like it, and the invention from RuneScape 3 is a good point. That was one of the coolest parts about the game. We recently went back on that game to try it, and that was a system I've never played with, and I liked it a lot. It of course sucks when you do a very expensive roll using the right pattern and you still don't get it, but I feel like RNG randomness it's a very good mechanic that's built into our universe and needs to be used more. I don't like these pseudo RNG things that games are incorporating, and this is I feel like this would do really well in Ashes, because I agree, I'm not really looking forward to the mini game crafting or whatever. I think that sounds a little lame to me. This I like. A lot of possibilities. And you like in RuneScape 3, there's this thing, they're called gizmos, the pattern or the grid. And the standard gizmo is 4 across and then 4 up, and they intersect at the middle. But there's an ancient gizmo. What is it, John? Is it 6 across, 6 up, or 4 across, 4 up? I think it's 4 across, 4 up.
4 across, 4 up, yeah.
Something like that. So there's 16 squares. It's just, it's an added mechanic that simply all it does is add more possibilities to your crafts. That's all it does, which unlocks a bunch of more secret recipes that, of course, people had to figure out and log on a table somewhere. And that's the same thing they can do in Ashes. If they give you a 6x6 gear crafting grid or something, in an expansion a few years from now, make it a 7x7 or a 7x6, and there could be a ton of new possibilities for crafts. That just a very easy way to add content.
Yeah, I haven't played with any game that's had that kind of a setup to it, like the grids or what have you. And I'll be honest, this I like that this person is thinking and trying to come up with something unique. I just don't think that this really adds anything so much as just puts it in a different way of doing it. Like you could legitimately just have, like, to make a sword, it's going to cost you 4 ingots instead of having a grid with 4 ingot slots. And then you make the blade, and then you got to put it together with leather and wood to make a sword. It could literally just say that on the description, and it wouldn't change how that functioned at all. It would just be visually representing it in a different way, which, I mean, that can be an entertaining thing for a game. But as far as building it into the crafting system, I'm not sure if, and this is me not actually playing what you were talking about with the 4x4 grid. So maybe it's just me not seeing the real benefit of it, but I do like the one thing that that Lashing had mentioned with the blank grids, where it would just be kind of like a guess what it is, try to find out what it is. It's a mystery. Because I've always thought it would be neat with recipes if they could be discovered by just experimenting, or discovering a partial recipe and you have to figure out, the missing ingredient because, the recipe itself was smudged. And they give you a little, a PNG that pops up in the game, and, there's a list of ingredients and just one is just they spilled coffee on it and it just dripped down the rest of the page, and you have no idea what it is. Like that would be neat.
Oh, cool. That's tough.
That's tough. I like that.
That's tough.
I also think this could be cool if you could also like set up to craft X amount of them. So I'm coming from the perspective of not sword making where you're going to make one and maybe two if you're making one for me and one for you, or one for you and one for your friend, etc. But it's like more of like potions, right? So if I'm doing this over and over and over, can I set how many of them are being crafted? Because I don't want to do this one and then click and then do it again and then click and then do it again. Like that is just monotonous for me, and that would really, like, this grid system would really slow that down versus just having the clicking on the recipe and then clicking to craft it and then clicking on the recipe and then clicking to craft it kind of thing. So it's just a little extra, like a few extra more clicks depending on as you level up. But I like the other idea of it in general, the explorative part of the recipe, the trying to figure out like if like just good old-fashioned tinkering with stuff and just trying different things and seeing if it does anything. I mean, I did that all the time with Breath of the Wild. I would just grab recipe ingredients where it says like this could be used to make potions, so I'll grab those, and then I'll grab some things that I'm interested in seeing what it would make for a potion and throw them together, and I'd either get pretty good successful results, or I'll get that sound where you make the worst thing in the world and it's like a half a heart and it's like spoiled meat looking and you're like, what did I make?
And you
But
know, for coming back to quote unquote new world / old world, but it's new to everybody here, you know, there's gonna be a whole lot of strange ingredients.
Yep.
Experimentation will be required.
Yeah, and I think that it, allowing people to kind of lean into that a little bit more is going to be really important.
I agree.
Sure. There's other ways to do it. I just like the aspect of it's a very easy way to add more content in the future. Because like Steven says, content is king. The grid system excels at that, from what I've seen.
Definitely, because you could just add more components. Because there's already going to be components in the game. Like when you go to dungeons, I mean, that's what they're dropping. They're dropping components, not like the item. So as long as the grid system can support them, then you're good.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just gonna go ahead and move us into a different topic. It's kind of falling under the random topics, but I want to know, with the live stream coming up this week, being on commissions, are you excited for it? Are you not excited for it? What are your thoughts?
I'm scared. Sounds like New World Town Board.
Oh no.
I'm scared.
You say it sounds what?
Like New World Town Board missions, which was previously, before they nerfed them, the fastest way to level up in the game, where you just go to the town board, and it would level up your node. Like, I'm assuming it's going to an Ashes, but it would say, you know, bring 40 iron ingots or something like that. You just dump them into Oblivion, and you get XP.
Okay.
Huh.
And it was like one of the most hated parts of the game.
Yeah.
New World Amazon Delivery Simulator, says Frog Lips.
basically they'd be like, oh, go deliver 5 star metal bars, and you would just have a bunch of them in your inventory and just dump. It'll give you like some town standing, like for the region of Windsward, because that's what you would probably be in Windsward, and then it would give you some XP. And it would, at the time when the game first came out, it was kind of like Ashes in the form of you start at like a very small town and then it builds up, but once the town's built up, there's no destroying it like in Ashes. So
In New World?
or in New World, New World. So like all the materials, once people didn't need them anymore, they just became worthless. Like, yeah, there wasn't enough ways to take out the materials after people got done with town boards.
You know, these commissions, these town quests or whatever, they do have a purpose in getting rid of items from the economy. But in New World, the incentive was just to level up. Once you hit max level, no one did them anymore. And they shouldn't be the best XP in the game, obviously. I'm assuming that's because that's all I've seen for these commissions. If there's more, I haven't seen anything about the mayoral commissions. I don't know anything about those. Is there more to it?
Alluded to mayoral commissions previously on the wiki. Actually, we talked about this last week. I looked it up. There's a little bit more information on mayoral commissions. It's the mayor can put out this request, but the commissions that they're going to be talking about are node based and are systematically generated, and apparently react to the world. So I'm curious.
Like react to the world seasons, or maybe the
that's a great question.
Okay, react to the world's vague.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to be covering, is essentially like how does it react to the world, like what all is involved here. But it's apparently the best way to level up a node and yourself.
That's tough. Ooh, that's a tough.
Ooh, I'll take it from there.
Spicy meatball.
I'll take it from there.
Spicy meatball. I think we gave them something to talk about for the next podcast.
I personally think there's no way to make commissions like fun, like for the long haul. Like it's gonna be gathering missions. I know they're not doing that for like the quest lines, because quest lines are gonna be more involved. You're gonna actually have to read and stuff like that. But
yeah,
this seems like your old school quest lines. Like go hunt 5 boars, bring back 7 meat, or bring back 12 glint, or whatever it's gonna be, you know.
I may have projected that it doesn't say it's the best way. It is the singular. So it says specifically on, and I listed the wiki link. Commissions are simple types of system generated quests with singular objectives that enable character and nodes to gain XP. Not the best way, but just for them to gain. I said the best way. I was injecting my own words. So nobody fight Intrepid over that. That you can come fight me. That's fine. I'll probably lose, but it's okay.
Okay. I still don't think there's any way to make these quests this fun, because it's like, I get like Steven and like Company and Intrepid, they're making like, the original quest lines like more interactive and more fun. You have to read them, and it's not just like click, 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 click. But like these commissions are basically click, 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 click. It's like they're dumping the quests that people don't like into another system, and I think that's kind of, you know, it's not gonna be fun. Like it's not something that people are going to want to. They're gonna do it because they have to, and not because they want to.
Yeah. But I think they shouldn't. I don't think they should be. I think they should be in the game. I don't think they should not be in the game. I just think they should be balanced, because there's something charming about them in a way. Like if you've been playing MMOs your whole life, like old school MMOs, I kind of like them. Like
you like hunting 12 wolves?
Higher tier ones, like go get some, you know, like in New World or Calcum ingots or something like that. I don't know. I like them to an extent. They were just severely overtuned.
Okay.
Verteg, what are your thoughts on the mission stream coming up?
I am open to being proven wrong, but I see it as kind of a boring feature to just have like random commissions sitting there. But the one good thing I will say about it, the redeeming quality, is that I was one of the few that had the hot take of saying that I like daily quests. Mainly for not really for the progression of like reputation or anything, but literally so that when I log in, I have 30 minutes to log in. I know that I have these dailies that I can go do, make some money, maybe get a piece of gear, maybe get a random world drop, and then I can log the F out in 30 minutes and I've done something productive. And I know those are going to be there.
A mobile game.
That's a mobile game, basically.
That's a mobile game, Vertec.
But what if you're logging on like 6 to 7 hours on the weekends, and you're logging on 3 hours every other night, and tonight you're just like, I just want to like chill with the game real quick, but I literally only have like 30 minutes. Let me just pop on real quick and do something. 30
minutes of progress. You know, take what you can get.
That's true.
Well, there you go. Progress to your bank account. What if you're trying to buy those materials that you can't get out of a raid because all these big badass guilds are doing it, and your guild can't get in the door, so you need to buy it. You need to make gold. That's your progress.
I mean, I see what you're saying, but that's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I'm okay with them existing, because I know that when I have like a couple minutes or even like an hour to pop on real quick, nobody's available to do anything. It's just going to be me. I ain't got any normal quests. Like game story quests to do. I just want to make some money today. Let me go ahead and knock out some commissions
Yeah.
or
Fair enough.
something.
I know they're gonna be in the game. Oh, sorry, what were you saying?
Oh no, it's okay. You can go ahead.
I was saying I know they're gonna be in the game. They're always in every game, and I do use them. The daily bonuses, I like them. I just think every game that I play that has them would be better without them. Even if I can only log on for like 30 minutes to an hour that night, I feel like it makes progress more meaningful. Because
Definitely.
yeah,
I mean,
Um,
it's. Oh, keep going.
No. Go ahead. Sorry.
Dang, I feel like I'll keep cutting you off. I'm sorry. I feel like it's one of those things like I feel like we're judging like these dailies and stuff like off of what like our previous experiences in like other games.
because
Like,
we always go to that.
Yeah, but like we said, we don't know how maybe maybe we won't need to always be doing caravans to make the most money. Maybe I can just go kill like a superior mob in an area for like a purple and it actually make me some money that I can make to build up towards that legendary that I want. We don't know how like a market is gonna turn out. So like if the market's good enough, daily quests aren't gonna be necessary. They wouldn't
Well,
be.
if you only have 30 minutes to log in for that night, are you really gonna go farm? You're probably not gonna get that purple that's worth money in 30 minutes.
Definitely not, but I mean, no one should. I mean, maybe I get lucky.
Yeah.
That's the fun. That's the fun of the MMO.
Right.
It's like the
I agree.
luck
Getting
aspect of it.
It's a very
It's euphoria, man. It's like
yeah.
it is. It's euphoria, man.
Yeah, I know. See, for me, like, I know in gaming as well as real life, half the time I usually go for the slow and steady gain when I have like short time. Like, give me something dependable that I know is going to come in. When I have some time to plan and take some chances or whatnot, I'll prepare for it and then go in and dive in and see what happens. But when it's just like a quick little bit of time, I want to make sure that I definitely get some gain for absolute sure in that time.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Maximize min-maxing.
The thing I wanted to try and say is that on the wiki, there's actually now a little note at the top that has been suggested that the commissions part was merged with the tasks page. And the reason why is they're saying that commissions are a type of task that you can do. And tasks are quests that have that are not having a lot of text to them. They're without excessive amounts of text. They refer to node-based objectives that are narrative-based, and tasks come and go in regional areas and react to events in the world.
Okay.
And they list two examples. One of them is perimeter patrols, and the other is predator prey. Both are from Alpha 1 starting area. They have the quest outlined there as well. And it goes on to say tasks are hyper-local to individual nodes and will be centered around developing the node that they belong to. If you want to go kill 5 wolves, this is where you do it. You can kill 5 wolves on your own, and that will count toward the node progression. But if a task is offered to kill 5 wolves, then both the node and your character will get bonus XP when that task is completed. Tasks will be numerous and varied and will reflect the different gameplay styles that players can engage in within Ashes. There will be crafting, exploration, combat, and gathering-oriented tasks, among many others.
They said exploration and combat, and also it reacts to events in your world. So if your node discovers a raid, there's going to be, I'm assuming,
there may be a commission to scout out the new raid. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they could totally be implemented in a cool way. They don't have to just be go kill 5 wolves.
Yeah.
Seen it from a game yet,
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why, I'm kind of staying neutral on this, but I've definitely seen there are some people that are really excited for this, and there's a lot of people please anything else. Or something in addition to, show me the rogue in addition to this.
Give me 1 second.
Uh-oh.
Someone knocked on the door. Give me 1 second.
Okay. I was like...
You got DoorDash.
I was like, I thought Falco was getting in ready to go in on some conversation. I was like, 1 second.
Getting excited. Hold on. Let me talk. Nope. Just going to get the wing delivery. That's it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You got your almonds?
What'd you tell them? What you done?
Huh?
What you done?
We're in the middle of a conversation. And you just leave, and then you'll come back with your
I actually have some almonds right here.
That's funny.
Nice. Nice.
Sorry, I gotta have a snack.
Yeah, I feel like a neutral stance is the smart stance, like with most things. See what they do with it. And the stream's in 2 days, so
Right.
Yeah.
whatever.
Right.
It could be cool.
Yeah, like I said,
I
with
agree.
this one, I hope I'm gonna be like proven wrong. Like it's gonna be actually something super exciting and whatnot. But to me, it just feels like be a quest stream. Let's learn about how to quest.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree.
But
Because
you
once
know.
the whole world is explored, what are you going to do with those exploration quests?
Right.
re-explore. Re-explore every time.
Re-explore, okay.
I do like how the seasons kind of end up changing. You know, the gatherables and the mobs that you can fight and or you know, farm for things. And I feel like that's gonna keep the just vibe alive, and there's gonna be constantly new commissions to get. Of course, I'm curious to see how that's gonna react eventually when we have a tier 6 node.
Metropolis.
Yeah, when we hit the metropolis, like, well, are there gonna be any commissions then? What is gonna happen for that? Because I do know that the XP then ends up kind of flowing down to the vassal nodes, I believe, at least a fraction of it.
Right.
But
That's what I was wondering.
I'm curious. Yeah.
Do you think we're going to be seeing a tier 4 node tomorrow?
Nope. Nope. No.
Honestly, that's another thing that I've seen mentioned in the community is wanting to see the update to the development from tier 1 to tier 2, tier 2 to tier 3. Like, how does that look when it's changing tiers?
Yeah.
That'd be dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we have been live for a little over an hour at this point, and I think we are going to go ahead and wrap up. Before we completely wrap up, I need your help so I can figure out who to raid while we do the closing part. We have both Loreforged on and Nice Gaming with Voices of Vera. Who should we raid? Because both of them are podcasts. Loreforged?
Before it's all
All
right.
right. Sounds good.
Yeah.
And for those of you on YouTube, if you liked this, please feel free to subscribe and give us a like. Check out our description for our guests and their YouTube videos, and check out Rebirth Radio. Which is that on one of your? Do you guys have a separate YouTube for that, or is that
Not yet. It's on.
Not yet.
Right now.
on your- Okay,
It's in the works. It's in the works.
I'll put a card to one of them right about here.
Oh, it's a little less civilized over there.
You heard it here. It's a town of bandits over on that side of the town.
Hey, it is. That's the community.
Fingers crossed. Peon says maybe there'll be more social organization stuff on the board then.
Yeah, yeah.
Social
That'd be pretty cool
organization.
too.
All right, we're wrapping up, but that sounds interesting.
That does sound
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, there you
Man,
go. So you got you
MMO.
queued up with a topic.
Social organizations and MMO.
There you go. Oh, all right. Sorry. I can cancel that real quick. I want to make sure I got the right channel this time.
Yeah, it looks right.
Okay, cool.
Link into
Did you
random
boys want
chat
to take a quick minute
birds,
and
pelicans.
give any plugs? Drop any last words?
Go check out this man Yommi. He makes.
I mean, if you just Google Yommi New World YouTube, you'll find it. It's, I mean, it's New World. There's nothing to see. Wait till Alpha 2 comes out.
When is gonna be your next Rebirth Radio?
Our next Rebirth Radio is. You know what?
Every time I want to film one,
We're gonna film it right after the stream, which is in 2 days, right? Or a day and a half at this point.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Look out.
Yeah.
By this point, it'd probably be live. So for those of you on YouTube seeing this live later,
Yeah,
check it out.
yeah, it should be up by now.
Yeah, it will definitely be up.
Alrighty.
But my lesson that I learned from today's show is you hack your friends before you make them.
Yeah,
No.
with an exciting event so that you can. It's
Sometimes when you want to meet somebody, you just got to kick their door down.
Why is this
yeah,
not
it's
going?
pathetic.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to use the raid and it's not going.
You've
There we
broken
go.
it.
I did break it. That's what I get for unrating.
You know, it's funny because like Yami, he was a lot more danger prone before me and him became friends. It was because he was hanging out with Jake.
yeah. This man mellowed me out like
Sam,
prescription
Sam,
meds.
Sam was jumping off of brick walls with pogo sticks, hitting his head on freaking toilets, and dying
Lordy,
almost.
Lord.
Like,
Oh my gosh.
toilet. I swear you like hit your head on the toilet at that house, like, and you
Oh,
like
boy.
bleeding all over the place.
That's
Hi, you guys.
I wasn't.
I feel
Oh.
like we'll call this one the chaos raid.
Chaos. All right, well, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for contributing to the conversation, chatting with us, just hanging out and existing. That is the greatest form of support you can possibly give, is just joining in on the fun. So we appreciate it very much. You do not get time back after you spent it. So no refunds.
Yes.
Thank you, Falco and Yommi, for stopping by and hanging out with us as well. And
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Thanks for
we'll catch
having
everybody
us.
next time.
See you guys next
Mm.
time.
Bye-bye.